the most important thing from all the exercises that we just did is to have fun. Because Ralph Smedley, I'm going to paraphrase here, our founder, Ralph Smedley, said we learn best in moments of enjoyment. And so I'd like to have everybody use your reaction buttons, or if you're like me, you've written out some cards, use the cards, unmute yourselves. Let's give ourselves all a round of applause for having fun in the last couple of breakout sessions. Yeah. Right. And that's what we're going to do now. And I'm glad you enjoyed my selection of the Muppets. That is an example of something we do in my club, and several of my clubs actually. We play music at the beginning, middle, and end, or we'll go on to the YouTube and just select a video or something fun from the Muppets, and it gives some great entertainment, and why not, right? So I want to just tie it back to our imagine if. Imagine if we all have fun while learning, we celebrate, and I think that we are all going to have thriving clubs. We're all going to be making a difference in the world, tying it back to what we just talked about. If you agree with me, let's see some emojis. Use the reaction button to put in some emojis. Yeah, I'm seeing some hearts, thumbs up, perfect. Celebrations, absolutely. Amazing. All right, now I want to make sure that we have fun and engaging club meetings. And now we're going to kick it up a notch, and I want people to participate as much as they can. If you want to go ahead and use these signs, create ones on your own. We used this when COVID happened. I used to do this at all my district meetings, in our club meetings. It's very simple. You can just put the emojis up, and if you're muted and people can still see you, you're able to communicate and give some encouragement to the speakers. So that's your first takeaway idea. And what I want to do is to kickstart this session with some table topics. And what I want to know is, what is the wow factor for your clubs? Because I truly believe that the difference between a guest coming to a club and joining and a guest coming to a club and not joining is the program experience. It's the club experience. It's how people feel. It was how the people felt welcomed. It is what you do in your club to make your club a wow factor. And I'm going to ask you, all right, I see that we have got, let's see, Louise Houdelet. Louise, I love Louise because she has a name just like mine. So Louise, I know you're a DTM and a very popular person within this district. So I'm going to ask you, why do club meetings need to be fun and engaging?
Don't get them unless you get the butts in the seat and fun on the horizon.
Exactly. You want to make sure that they are engaged and they're part of the program. They feel part of it.
Something that we've been doing here lately is we've been getting on early and then chit-chatting.
Beautiful. Love that. Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to see Vina. Vina's very talkative. She always has ideas. So I'm going to ask her, why is it so important to have quality meetings online? What's the difference between having a quality meeting in a person and online? Why would we want it all online? Why is it so important?
It's easy to get disengaged. And I know a lot of people tend to have what they call Zoom fatigue. What they don't realize is if you have fun, there is no Zoom fatigue, because in my case, I don't get Zoom fatigue, I get Zoom excited. I'm the Energizer bunny that goes, like I was telling Denise today. Yeah. It's the Energizer bunny. Toastmasters is the Energizer bunny that energizes me every single meeting. I might be tired, but when I'm out of the meeting, I feel energized.
Perfect, perfect. So I think that it's really critical that we are even more energized when we're doing online meetings. And I like to ask people, how many of you actually have Netflix fatigue? you hear about binge watching and everybody watching all these shows, Bridgerton and etc. That is the same as Zoom. It is slightly delayed with the lip reading and you're streaming it. Same, but different. So I just want to encourage you to have people look beyond and that realize that having engaging meetings are really an important thing. All right, now what I want to do is I noticed there's a whole bunch of you that have actually got your cameras off. And Vina, what do you think? Should we ask everybody to turn their cameras on?
Yep.
I think Toastmasters meeting have to be with videos on because we love people.
Yeah.
Let's turn the videos on.
Okay, let's not only turn on the videos, but what I'd like you to do is to chat in the chat and just put 1 word, 2 words, 3 words of why your club is so fun and engaging. What is the wow factor for your club? What makes your club unique, different, and really, really good? And it can be about your club culture. It can be about programs you offer, the people that are in it. And I'll go first, actually. One of the clubs I was in, there was a fellow named Gordon, and Gordon had the biggest belly laugh. You know, there were days when I wouldn't want to go on a Monday night at 7 o'clock across town to this club, but yet I would go. And when I get there, Gordon would be belly laughing. Even when it wasn't funny, he was belly laughing throughout the meetings and clapping and applauding and laughing. And by the time the meeting was over, I was sore from laughing along with him. And I felt all the, I don't know what the chemicals are, endorphins come into my body, and I was excited, and I go home like, I'm so glad that I went to that meeting. Now I'd like you to share a few examples. So let's see, Marcy, I think you can look at the chat. Why don't you share with us some of the things that people are writing?
I'd love to. Let's see. Also kind and welcoming. We start with high energy engagement. Each member is absolutely amazing. We have fun people and we can make fun of ourselves. It's a good one.
Beautiful.
Jokes, jokes, jokes. We have very creative members who lead the club in often hilarious table topics.
All right.
Great energy, humorous and engaging. Club culture, combining work with my love for Toastmasters and just the engagement from the partners in my company.
Beautiful. Okay. And what I'd like, the person that said that they had the creative table topics, who was that?
You see.
Was it Sharon?
It's me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share a couple with the group?
Oh my gosh. We've had so many funny ones in the last few weeks. It's just, I'm trying to remember. One of our members brought a bag of items. So she had the items in separate bags. And then we picked a bag, the members would pick a bag, and you would have to explain what the item was and why you bought it. And they were items that you had no idea what it was. It was just like crazy.
Right. Oh, cool.
Nuts and bolts and
They
things
just
like that.
Threw
So,
them out and
yeah,
and
it was funny. Yeah.
fantastic. Well, let's give you a round of applause. Everybody, I'd like you to clap unmuted, always unmuted. There we go. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, because you had the first idea of the evening for this session, I'm going to hold up a sign that says, wow. You can use this for Mother's Day also, by the way. And I'm going to ask everybody to do a W and say wow with me, but you have to unmute first to do that, okay? So I'm going to, on the count of 3, is everybody unmuted? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow. Wow. All right. Thank you so much. Perfect. Now, what I want to do is ask if somebody could raise their hand, and we're going to do some table topics. And so I would like to get a few people to raise their hand. I see, Catherine, you've got your hand raised. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to this tool. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. Okay. I share my screen and we're going to do a tool. It's called Wheel Decide. Okay. And it is spelled W-H-E-E-L, decide. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this and we're going to get your table topic. So who is our first person up? David?
All right. I am.
I think it was Catherine that had said.
Yeah. Yes, it is Kathy.
All right, Kathy. All right, Kathy, I'm gonna spin and you let me know if you can hear the spinning. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, so here's your table topic and take 30 seconds to a minute and a half. What makes your club unique?
Now, I have two clubs that are very unique. I will speak about the club called Aesop's Fables.
Okay.
We're all Aesop's Fablers. This club here is a storytelling club, and we have a lot of fun at this club. We always make sure that we speak about the awards that were given last week. So we
Okay.
always remind everybody who had worked really hard last week and present the awards. The other thing that we do is we give an Aesop's Fable at the very beginning of the meeting. So there is an added role. You have to do an Aesop's Fable and you have to share the moral of the story. And we always try and get everybody to work in the storytelling genre. We try and get them to do their speeches where they're giving good storytelling. I have to tell you about a table topics that the youngest member in our club, this young gentleman, and he decided when we were doing a national day, a lot of times table topics will be based on the national day. Well, he decided to look up the most absurd, outlandish national days.
Perfect.
And then he presented them and we didn't know what they were. We didn't know why they were there, but we had to make up what we thought those national days were all about. So
I love it.
yeah, Aesop's is great for storytelling. If you want to tell stories, you want to become better storytellers, please join us at Aesop's Fablers.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now I want everybody to unmute and we're going to do our thing. Are you ready?
Oh,
Ready? Unmute, unmute, unmute. Put on your cameras. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Awesome. That was fantastic, Catherine. I have time for one more table topic if somebody is brave enough. Is there anybody that would like to step up? That's a relatively easy one. All right,
Nancy Potts.
I see Nancy. Fantastic. Okay, let me go back to my screen. Now, what's really cool about this tool, wheeldecide.com, is it's free. You can set up whatever questions you want. You could do it with people's names. And if you go into the advanced options, you can actually have it remove the choice after it's landed upon. It's as simple as that. You can put branded colors, sizing, and then you just apply the wheel changes. Okay, so we're ready, and I'm going to press the go. And Nancy, here's your question. Okay, we already asked that one, so I'm going to ask another one here. All right. How do you have program variety in your club? What are the things that you're doing in your club, Nancy?
I'm going to pick on my home club, Washoe Express, because I am in 5 clubs. Washoe Express always has a theme, and the Toastmaster that week gets to pick the theme. And along with going on the internet, maybe finding out what the theme for that day is, and in local news or local, whatever the theme is, it might be National Hot Dog Day, I don't know, but they put the whole theme around that so that when you come with your table topics, they go with the theme. If you come with your positive thought or your joke of the day, say, I'll just use Mother's Day for an example. Then you put all your speaking roles around Mother's Day. There you go, Mom. So it's pretty fun. I just had the table topics on the Mother's Day theme, and
Yeah.
you know, it's amazing that it makes you think outside your box, because you do have an all go to, and you can look something up on the internet. It makes our club very exciting and fun, because as soon as you get the early agenda, which shows everybody's roles in plenty of time, then they can see the theme for the day and come up with some fun ideas. Even the word of the day is used around the theme. So I think that makes our club very fun and organized.
Okay. All right. So we're not going to do mom. We'll do wow. Is everybody ready? Unmute yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Wow factor. Fantastic. And I'm going to be giving you a handout later tonight that actually has a link to hundreds of themes. There's a bit of a theme dictionary at one of the clubs in my district, and I'd love to share that with you so that you can get more ideas. All right, I am going to go back to sharing the screen for a little bit. So that was the table topics part of the meeting. We started the meeting with it's actually, this whole session is following how a typical meeting runs. Hold on. Okay. And now what I'd like to do is take it to the presentation part. So we've done the introducing of the theme like you do in your meetings, talked a little bit about some of the roles, and then we went into table topics, and now is the time for prepared speeches. Are you ready? All right, I hear a lot of silence.
We're ready.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm just trying to get the slideshow to get going. Here we go. Ah, okay, I see what it is. Bear with me here a second. Great. Slideshow. Okay, so we've just gone through this and we've done our table topics. All right, so one of the things that we can do to make meetings even more fun and engaging is to celebrate. And you can see here, happy birthday, Neville, Lydia, Yuri, Will, and Audrey. And this club meets once a month. So pretty much every month we've got some sort of celebration that can happen. And it was actually a very special birthday for Neville because it was his 90th birthday. And yes, he's still online, he's still doing pathways, and he's still an active member of our club. You can see on the right-hand side, there is a club that's holding a charterversary. So that's the anniversary in 5s or 10s of the club opening. So you can do charterversaries and any type of celebration, gifts, cakes. If you're in person, are fantastic. If you're not in person, you can still celebrate. So is there anybody in the group that has anything to add about ways that you've celebrated? Just raise your electronic hand. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to the next one, and that is very closely tied to celebrations is recognition. And you can see here, District 39, first place in the Division D evaluation contest and all the hardware that came with that. And you can see congratulations sent out to our humorous speech contest winners. And if there's people that have won things like that, it's always fun to do that in the club, whether it's an in-person meeting or online, to recognize the people that have gone on with contests. And on the right-hand side here, that was a kind of special one because I have a club in our district last year, 2 years ago, when we first started having club officer training on November 1st. Well, their division and their club decided that they would participate fully on November 1st for club officer training, and they ended up being #1 in the world to get all 7 club officers trained first, which was way cool. So I showed up with a cake and we celebrated. And there's the current district, the incoming district director is there with me, Lily. She happened to be a division director at that point, and we were celebrating with the group. So celebrate whatever you can. You can get ribbons, badges, all sorts of things. Is there anybody that celebrates within their club? What do you celebrate? Type it in the chat. What sort of things do you celebrate? All right. Anniversaries, Halloween, yes. Outside speaking opportunities, beautiful. Valentine's Day, member growth, absolutely. Holiday themed meetings, anything that you can celebrate will make people feel better, make them feel excited. All right, I'm going to go to the next idea. Change locations. We talked about outside speaking engagements. Well, what about changing the location to a beach or a fireside Toastmasters meeting? Now, these were done before COVID, so we didn't have masks on, but I've noticed a community art program with artists of Toastmasters from your district, and also people going to the local market and doing Toastmasters tables there. Why not move your Toastmasters booth to a local farmers market, take up a booth and do a live meeting right there in front of the general public? Why not create a little bit of crowds? Why not show up at your Chamber of Commerce wearing an elf outfit and do your meeting there? So there's lots of ideas. Or why not hold an open house in the park? And you can see this was during a COVID period. This club was desperate to get back in person, and this was done a year and a half ago. They were all sitting far apart with their masks on, but they had a fantastic meeting. And of course, everybody brought their own coffee and tea, and it was amazing. So open house in the park, why not? No venue costs, and you get a chance to practice your vocal variety, and you'll get a chance to see each other in person. And of course, many of your clubs are back in person now. Is there anybody with a back in person club? Yeah, fantastic. That's exciting. So Bill, your club is back in person?
Nope.
Nope, not yet. Okay.
Oh.
Another idea is to dress up. And you see a couple of examples here. The Fifth Lord Toastmaster, where she's dressed in a cloak. And of course, they had a, I guess it's a Lord of the Rings themed meeting, and had a lot of fun with it. Wish Upon a Star, where they've done sort of a circus type event. And you can see the Toastmaster is kind of like a ringmaster for that event. Christmas events, clown costumes, like why not, right? It's kind of fun. Or you could also challenge people virtually to bring their own hat, to have to dress up just with the hat, because they're from the chest upwards, right? So those are a few ideas, and it totally changes the vibe of the meeting. All right, and here are some more ideas. Dancing, karaoke, and stretches. Well, you just experienced the Muppet video. Did people like that?
That was
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
So cute.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a very easy thing to do. When people first log in, it's great to have a little bit of music. We've also had dancing breaks. We have a 2-hour meeting for my advanced club. We'll have a 5 to 10 minute break in the middle, and we'll put on some good music, and people do a lot of chair dancing and things. One of our Toastmasters clubs did yoga stretches. Why not? So these are some of the ideas of things that you can do. I also wanted to share with you a tool. It's called Mentimeter, MENTIMEETER.com, and you can get your group to go to menti.com. We're not going to do the exercise tonight, but I'll showcase to you what that tool can do. And what you can do is to convert all the words that people put into a beautiful word cloud. So you can do polling, Q&A, moments of truth. Does anybody have a quiz master or a hark master? Have you heard of this role? It's somebody that has this. Is there anybody? I heard somebody say they might know. It's basically to ask questions, to be listening all meeting. The end of the meeting, they listen for, they'll ask the question and have people answer the question in the group. So they're testing how well everybody was listening. So it's kind of like a little quiz. So that's a new idea for you then.
Call that the listener.
Okay,
in,
perfect. So
in Revelers.
Quiz master, listener, and Denise, have you done it in person?
Nope, we've only been meeting virtually.
Okay. When you get back to in person or even with hybrid, you can throw candy at the people that answer. Really fun thing to do in person. I talked about the word clouds, open-ended questions, and ranking scales. So those are ways of getting feedback. But you can also use it for your best speaker, best evaluator, table topics, most improved, funniest moment in the meeting. So this tool has been used in all around the world for giving the prizes out at the end of the meeting. So there you go, mentimeter.com. And speaking of funniest moments in the meeting, we've created this role called a ha counter. Now you've probably heard of an ah counter. The ha counter counts the laughs, the snickers, the smiles, the guffaws, anytime that people were relating to the material in a humorous way. And then at the end of the meeting, just like all of the other roles, they give a report on the key moments throughout the meeting. And it's a great way to get recall. Often we get laughs during the ha counters report. And it's a very simple thing to throw into your meeting. It takes an extra 2 or 3 minutes of explaining and then giving the report at the end, but well worth it. And then we have banner raids. Denise, have you ever had a banner raid? Do you know what it is?
Do not know what it is.
We
I'm
should,
scared.
since we have 5 clubs in one building.
Right?
All right. Okay, so here's what happens. So Marshall, you said you have 5 clubs in one building? Yes. Okay. So here's what happens. Doesn't have to be in the same building, but in the lower right, lower left-hand corner, we have 5 people holding a banner that has like more ribbons than you've probably ever seen. This is from a club called Vancouver Toastmasters, which is the #2 international club around the world. So it was the 2nd club outside of the United States to be formed by Toastmasters. So it's like forever years old, and they've got a ton of ribbons and a big club. And this other club only had 8 members. They were barely scraping by. So what they decided to do was to go with 5 members to the other club's meeting and sit through the whole meeting. And then when they came for the guest comments, they said, we are, and the name of the club was Raconteurs. We're Raconteurs. There's 5 of us here tonight. We are stealing your banner. And they literally took the banner, did photo ops, and then took that banner and hung it up at their club meeting until the other club, Club 59 or the Vancouver Toastmasters, could find 5 members that would go back, and it's all in good fun, and actually steal their banner back. And if you bring 10 members, you can actually steal their banner as well as get your banner back. So this is sort of an informal, fun thing that we've been doing for a few years now in British Columbia. And it works brilliantly for getting clubs to partner with each other and to enjoy camaraderie. Often little clubs will get support of speakers, evaluators, coaches, people that can help them to run open houses, etc., to be able to boost themselves up. So I think that that's a pretty good idea. What do you think, Denise?
Sounds all like a lot of fun.
It is. And it's definitely a way of publicizing. It goes up on the local Facebook pages and is promoted throughout the district. So I think we should do a wow. What do you think? Let's have everybody unmute and I'll go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Fantastic. Okay, here's another idea. And this is a little crazy, but open microphones. Having your mics not muted for the entire meeting. So you can hear people laughing, you can hear people clapping, you can hear people breathing, and that you're really that much more engaged. It sounds absolutely nuts, but it actually works because you're feeling more connected with people. If you've got people that are complaining about Zoom fatigue, unmuting the microphones is massively helpful. If you've got people that have got echo, a screaming baby, or construction going on, absolutely, yeah, mute them. But even groups of 30 and 40 people like tonight, if you unmute yourselves, it'll be a better experience, especially for the speakers. All right. Now I'm going to go into the reverse meeting. Is there anybody in the group that's ever heard of a reverse meeting or done one? Oh, I've got a question here. How to steal the banner virtually? Easy. You actually just take a photograph of the banner and then you hang it up electronically as a backdrop. And that's what we did. In fact, I even had a club that hadn't even chartered yet that went and did a virtual meeting banner raid to try and get their numbers up and get publicity. So totally possible. All right. So I'm going to ask Nancy, have you ever heard of a reverse meeting?
Yes.
Which Nancy?
Okay, it doesn't matter, one of you. And what was that about? Oh, Josephine raised her hand. Go ahead, Josephine.
Yes, hi. I have been involved with a reverse meeting if I think it is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which is that we did the evaluations first.
Yep.
And then did all the table topics and then the actual speeches afterwards.
Yeah,
and
so you're making it all up, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no, you're making it up in terms of evaluations, but in a way, you're also setting it in the speaker's mind about the things that they did well and the things that they were to improve upon. So therefore, when they actually, when the time came for them to actually do their speech, it was, in inverted commas, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Already. And
that's awesome.
When I first tried this, it was with my club when I was still in London, and I told them at the meeting we were going to do a reverse meeting.
Right.
And were successful and embraced very well. Then I came back to the Caribbean, and I did something similar again, not telling them in advance. And the discomfort of the people of having to flip it around.
Yeah.
And one person who was actually hesitant about doing, I recall she was to be the evaluator. And when she then did her evaluation, she then actually admitted that she was like, whoa. And then she realized that she had to become more comfortable with change. On the spot change.
Okay.
But then there were other people who were like, oh, no. And you should have given us notice and so on. But for me, that brought some of the spontaneity and the humor and the laughter. But to have advance notice that we're going to do it, evaluations first, table topics, and then the actual speeches.
Yeah, fantastic. And Josephine, my corporate club is they love the reverse meeting so much. They do it once a quarter. It's put into our schedule of themes and meetings in our schedule, our master schedule for the club. And so we know it's coming up, but it is totally different every time we do it. And at the end of the meeting, we have everybody turn around and we take a picture of everybody on Zoom, or in our case, MS Teams, with their back of their head rather than their faces showing. And we use that for publicity, just for fun. You can do the same thing, having the group pose in person with the group facing away from the camera as well. So I would like to ask everybody to give Josephine a round of applause, and we're going to do a wow for her. So unmute yourselves. Unmute. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow. Amazing. All right. So let's see what else we've got here. Hold a contest, rant, debate. So you can see here, Squim Toastmasters, which is in District 32. They do a rant and rave. My club, the Speak Your Mind Toastmasters up in Vancouver, we actually have a rant master. So it is, instead of an inspirator, we have somebody that rants. It is super fun. You get to slam your hand on the table and raise your voice and be really passionate about some niggly thing that really annoys you, a pet peeve. It could be anything. And you get a chance to research it and get passionate about it and convince the group that this absolutely needs to change. I've also seen Table Topics Jamboree with fun and games. And is there anybody from Articulators of Sacramento on the call tonight? Well, they have the great debate, and I love that. Learn how to skillfully debate current event topics, and that is their claim to fame and their draw into the meeting. And I notice we've got a couple of questions. We do WhatsApp with that. Okay, perfect. Eileen, do you want to share that? Is Eileen on the call? Does she want to share that, the WhatsApp?
I am. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's called What's Up With That, and it's for Laugh a Lot Toastmasters. We're basically learning how to add more humor into speeches and into presentations and being able to tell jokes and riddles and things. So What's Up With That is we'll give you a question about something that's really pretty irrelevant, and then you talk about what's up with that. For instance, like weeds in your yard. What's up with that? And then you go on with your table topics.
Okay, I think that deserves a wow. Are you able to turn on your video, Eileen?
Sure.
All right, let's see Eileen in person. All right, and everybody, 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Wow.
Eileen. Fantastic.
Hey, Deborah.
Okay. Fun time signals. I've been to events where they didn't have the actual time signals ready to go. So what they did is they just grabbed 3 different colored peppers or random objects like Lego blocks, things like that. Has anybody done anything creative for their time signals?
Ketchup, mustard, and the Tabasco ribbon is green.
Nice. Or relish would work too, right? Green relish. Perfect. We've already talked about theme days. Here's a few of them from your district. Virtual tea party, celebrating April Fool's Day, Happy New Year with the Year of the Tiger, and having festive areas with art for your venue as well. These are photos from your district. It's amazing. So just get creative with that. And somebody mentioned earlier in the meeting about post-meeting networking. Oh, phenomenal. Remember the days when at the end of your meeting, you would get together for a meal, a drink, and have a laugh and get to know each other? Well, you can still do that online. A lot of clubs will meet either at the beginning for some networking or at the end of the meeting. And I remember in the first few weeks of COVID, I went to a student club and they had what they call the mental health check-in. At the end of the meeting, they checked in on how everyone was doing. And one of the guys mentioned that he played the trumpet. So everybody said, well, do you have it? And he said, yes. And out came the trumpet and he gave us a little concert, a mini concert. We got to know each other. And so there's lots of opportunity to network. And I feel that that is often the main reason, like we heard from Lance Miller last night, the main reason that people stay in Toastmasters is the fun, the connection, and the people. And after that would be the public speaking improvement. So try and figure out ways that you can stretch that so that people are connecting. All right, we have some games ideas. In one of the districts, they had a whodunit online murder mystery. We've also played Kahoot, charades, and in my handouts, I will give you a family feud. We did that at Christmas time with holiday themed questions, and it was really quite fun. You can do it online or you can do it in person. Here's another idea. If you find that you've, a show of hands, raise your electronic hand, if you've ever had a gap in your sessions where the speaker didn't show up or, you know, yeah. So I'm seeing a couple of people that have raised their hands there. It's 3, 4, yeah. So here's some ideas of things that you can do. Evaluate a world champion. So take the video from a world champion in the past and play the video, and then have the entire group go through it and evaluate and give nuggets of improvement and talk about what they liked, what they heard, what they saw, and what they felt about the meeting, about the actual world champion. And it's amazing. These guys are the top of the top, and they've been practicing their speeches, honing it to perfection, but yet there's still always things that people can improve on, and that the group, it's surprising the group will come up with ideas. I see we've got a couple of, yeah, somebody played Jeopardy, great. In our club, we have a pianist, guitar, poet. All right, Vivian, I'd like you to come on camera if you can. Hi, Vivian.
Hello, Louisa. Sigma Kappa Pi, Sigma Delta Pi. It's an entertainment show.
Yeah.
Pianist, guitarist, poet, and well, it's obvious I'm the humorist. I'm a talk show host, and Wacky is my middle name. If you're serious,
Amazing.
Louisa, I will send you all to the ICU of the hospital. No serious people there. You can ask Marcy and you can ask Denise, because they joined the club because we're wacky. They're bright people, but you know, they're really wacky inside. So they're in our club.
Oh,
Please
that's
come
awesome.
and visit. 28th, come and visit.
So I'm going to ask everybody to give her a wow. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Wow. All right. And I'm going to finish up here. No speeches on the agenda. Have a grab bag of questions that are available, or pair everybody up so they can talk about their next speech and hold each other accountable. Put the schedule out and have people sign up for roles and for speaking roles in particular for the next few months. It works brilliantly. You can do it online as well by having people do it in breakout rooms in 2s and 3s. Virtual scavenger hunt, or if you're like my Toastmasters club, we did a scavenger hunt, not a scavenger hunt, but cribs. So a tour of people's fridges, and that was part of table topics. And it was super fun. Nobody had to clean up their house, but it was interesting to hear and see what they had in their fridges and or freezers. And it was kind of fun. So there we go. All right. And then finally, I want to just close off the presentation by saying that, as we mentioned, club quality is critical. And there are 2 tools in your toolbox as a district leader, as a club leader. One is Moments of Truth. And we played some questions from the Moments of Truth today on the wheel decide.com, the table topics. You can work through those questions, do it as a table topic, and then evaluate the ideas that people come up with in the table topics. You can also use the wow factor, which is a club quality checklist. It is available online at Toastmasters. It's about 4 pages. It's all yes, no answers. And have people go through that and then discuss the areas of improvement or things that you might want to see done or changed. In addition, I want to actually, okay, stop sharing. There we go. All right, I want to also thank everyone for tonight. I'm going to send you in the chat a number of ideas, over 50 ideas that have been collected from doing this workshop in the last few, from Denise. Wow. And also some ideas of tools that you can use like Kahoot and the Family Feud, etc. So I'd like to hand it back to my hosts and say thank you so much. Remember, have fun, get creative, and share ideas.
Thank you so much, Louisa. Let's give her a loud round of applause.
Wow.
We appreciate you so much, Louisa. Thank you so much. Even working through your challenges, you are awe-inspiring, and we thank you for continuing to support us. We do have more sessions, ladies and gentlemen. The conference is continuing. Tomorrow's events is the Distinguished Toastmaster. where we celebrate our new Toastmasters who achieve their Distinguished Toastmaster Award. If you are already a Distinguished Toastmaster, please do come wearing your medallion. And afterwards, we're going to install our incoming officers. So please do. Thank you, Vina, for placing that in the chat. Any final parting words?
Thank you for a great session.
Have something
Wow.
to say. Denise.
Yes, Vina.
Okay. Just a little PR plug for our district. For those of you who have not been to the district website, we have a page dedicated to the district conference. We have a whole bunch of amazing sessions, literally all the way from last week to this Saturday. Please make sure you log in, sign up. We have a bunch of different sessions. There are a couple of changes that will be sent out through Constant Contact. So make sure you put Denise Alders in your safe sender list. Our links to the International Speech Contest and the Evaluation Contest will be changing. So please make note of it. We will send out an email. But I have to say, we are chock full of amazing information, especially the DTM ceremony. It's a big deal. Accomplishments, service awards, accomplishments, Patricia Fripp, better speaker, better leader, better way to do whatever you want to do. Hybrid meetings. If you want to set up hybrid meetings, we have an amazing session for that. There's a very interesting session that Denise is working on, which is an education session. We have, oh my gosh, the humorous speech contest is on Friday. I forgot about that. Thank you, Louisa, for that image which you had on the website. I hope to see all of you there because without you, we can't have a conference. Literally, we can't have a conference. Back to you, Madam District-elect, Director-elect.
Oh, thank you, Vina. And without our Zoom masters, thank you, David Batowski, Marshall Graham, and Marcy Johnson. We thank you for your continued support of our free conference. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this conference is adjourned.
Thank you. I'm happy to stick around for a few minutes if anyone has any questions or wants to talk for 5 or 10 minutes.
I do have one question, which I think we didn't get to. How does a reverse meeting work when you have guests? Because you want, in a sense, a perfect meeting. Yes, you have fun, but how do you explain it to them where they're not confused?
At the very beginning, you explain the entire concept and how it's all going to work. They also are given a physical or electronic agenda. So you still have that. And then we don't call upon them for the reverse meeting as much if they're speaking, but we will ask them at the beginning of the meeting, we ask them, so how did you like the meeting? Give us one word. And so they give a word and they're just making it up, right? And then at the very beginning of the at the very end of the meeting, we'll ask them to introduce themselves. So they still get a little bit of speaking time, but we try and make it comfortable for them. And of course, if somebody doesn't want to speak, it's absolutely fine to stay quiet. So yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I guess I can go.
Yeah, please.
I guess, how long have you been a Toastmaster?
I joined Toastmasters in 2002. That was that story in Switzerland way back when. So it's been a while. I did take a couple of years where I wasn't a Toastmaster because I was in a country without Toastmasters. And I also didn't speak the local language. And so it was a little bit of a challenge. That was Estonia, which now has a club. So go figure. Is there a particular idea that you might want to try or that resonated with you tonight?
I like moments of truth on the wheel. It didn't feel like moments of truth always feels. Like feeling like, okay, you're on the spot now. Explain what's wrong with your club.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But
So
what
one of
you-
the things that you can do is do that, but then evaluate the idea. So Lance might be the table topic speaker and you may answer the question, but then after that, in Canada, we evaluate table topics. We usually give them a regular speech evaluation as part of the table topics. But instead of evaluating the table topic speaker, we evaluate the idea. What do you think? Would that work in our club? What would be the next steps? So you flesh it out a little bit more with a few others in the group. And then it gets thrown up to the club executive to implement. Yeah. I see Linda nodding her head.
Yeah.
That resonates. Okay, cool.
Yes,
And Lance,
absolutely.
you did very well with your
Well,
top. I gave you a topic earlier. Oh, awesome. What else did you learn from tonight or would like to try? I'm curious if there's anybody that has anything they liked.
You know what would be good, Louisa? What question you're asking right now, maybe if we had taken 3 minutes as Mentimeter, because I use that in Mentimeter, that's a word cloud we could potentially use on Facebook and LinkedIn, because that brings more people in. They talk about what fun we had in our meetings, how amazing it was,
Yeah,
how
there you go.
informative it was.
Okay. Yeah,
I love it. Love your questions. But if you put the one slide and your questions together and then share it, it's a great way.
I love that idea. The other thing that some clubs have been doing is recording their why, the my why for Toastmasters. If you do that as a table topics and then you record it, if you have somebody that's fancy with recordings, they can take the best sections or the best quotation and throw it onto TikTok or Facebook Reels, something short and catchy, and throw it onto Facebook to promote your club. Vivian, you had a question.
Yes, consider me your #1 fan now, Louisa.
Oh gosh.
May I visit your clubs whether you like it or not? See, you have a choice there. And #2, the message I got from you was break the rules, but still follow the 3 segments. Can you imagine doing the same thing forever and ever to Kingdom Come? Come on, look at what fun we have here. So break the rules, keep the 3 segments, be wacky. Ask Denise and Marcy, wacky works. Thank you, Louisa. I love you.
Welcome. Oh, that's awesome. I think that we're actually not breaking the rules because Ralph Smedley totally supported the idea of having fun in order for people to learn. It's the way that we keep, and that's how adults learn, is through being engaged with the material. You're more likely to do that if there's humor, if there's emotional connection with the people in the room and with the material that you're sharing. So absolutely, I don't think we're breaking the rules at all. Aren't those the rules to have fun?
Yes,
I agree.
Thank you. We'll all together say now, we love you, Louisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Monica, you wanted to share something.
Yeah, so I really liked all the different ideas of how to use table topics, and it reminds me of my CEO because he likes to put us on the spot whenever we're walking through the building. He will just randomly come up to you, have a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, and you want to have an elevator pitch ready for him. So it's another way I can kind of use Toastmasters to promote, table topics, because we're about to have our first ever table topics contest for our club and our company. So
go for it. That's awesome. So you know what, Monica, my opinion is life is table topics. Life is improvising what you're going to say next once you've listened to what the person you're talking to has just said. You have no idea what they're going to say to you, right? And then you're figuring out, once you've heard what they've said, you have absorbed it, and then you have a conversation with them, you're answering with a table topic.
Yeah.
Sure, it might be 5 seconds, or maybe it'll be 5 minutes of response. It depends on the improvisation of that moment, right?
Yeah, and I agree 100% completely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just jump in. Yeah, quickly. Monica, one of the things that I learned in the early days with my Toastmasters life is that you do not have to answer the question. So feel free to throw the question gently back at someone else. So you shared, for example, how your CEO seems to enjoy, relaying seems to enjoy, targeting people and asking them questions. You can use your table topics in your meetings to practice turning the question back to him and try to get him to do the talking instead of you. Okay? Yeah. Does that make sense? So therefore, if you say to you, well, what did you do for the weekend? Well, you may not want to talk about what you did for the weekend. Maybe you just slept, had a totally relaxing weekend. And you can say, I rather like to hear about what you did for the weekend. What did you do for the weekend? Turn the question back on him rather than feeling compelled that you have to ask the question.
Brilliant. I love that advice.
Louisa, I noticed something here.
Okay.
Oh, you want to do the wow? We'll do the wow.
Yeah, sure. 1, 2,
Wow.
3. Wow. That was fantastic, Josephine. Great advice. Lance.
So I downloaded those PDF files that you sent because I am really truly moved by this. This is a great way for those introverts out there to easily engage their members in a fun way. And I noticed you had spin the bottle on here.
Yes.
I'm going to encourage you to try something like that. We did it in Laugh a Lot several months ago, where we started a story, and everybody knows the gingerbread man, right?
Yeah.
So each person, so the Table Topics Master started it as a certain person, and then you had to pick somebody in the audience and tell them what animal they were in this story. You could, couple rules. You couldn't eat the gingerbread man. You couldn't eat the gingerbread man. And you had 1 to 2 minutes to go through this for table topics. And that really meant you had to pay attention to the story too.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were fully engaged. They had fun. It's something like this. That's just another take on it.
Yeah.
So I would suggest trying something like that. But this
you know what,
great.
Lance, that particular idea didn't come from me. It didn't come from one of my workshops. I went on to Toastmasters International and I just went back a few years worth of Toastmasters magazines and picked out anything that I thought would be interesting. And that was one of the ideas that happens to be done at a club. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's lots of great ideas out there. It's just a matter of figuring out, well, what would fit for my particular club. So if you're like Monica and you've got a corporate club and it might not fit that particular culture, perfectly fine. You figure out what'll work and what your people will enjoy, and you do that. Yeah. Fantastic. So do we want to, is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to share or an idea they picked up? Oh, Barbara, you already sent it out to your club members. Fantastic. Really good. Wonderful. There's a proactive leader. Vivian.
I liked.
Yes, thank you. May I ask people, why is it that when we're having fun, when the evaluator comes on, he or she has this mortuaric face? Why do you have to look mortuaric when you're evaluating? So may I please request the evaluators to also perform. If it's a wacky person they're evaluating, just match.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the energy? If Deborah's doing her laugh a lot stuff and the evaluator says with a wonderful voice, that was excellent, Deborah. You are so wacky, like duh. So I challenge evaluators, be wacky too.
Sure, sure. And, it's okay also to stretch the assignment a little bit. For example, when I did my last DTM project in the former program, the last project I did was from I can't remember what it was called, basically a reading out loud project where you had to read a poem. And you know what I did? I practiced for 4 months. I found somebody in my club that was an expert at doing rapping. And I rapped green eggs and ham from Dr. Seuss. And so that was my read out loud project. It took me months. I recorded myself and would practice in my commute to and from in my car. And finally I did the performance, but at half speed. Oh my goodness, those rappers, it is crazy how talented they are with the linguistic gymnastics in their mouths to speak so quickly and in a rhythm. It was a fantastic opportunity. And it was my finishing up my second DTM. At that point, I'd done a number of speeches, but get a little creative, stretch yourself, and have fun with it. Josephine.
I love table topics. And so tonight I'm going to come up with an idea for table topics for my club. That is a combination of the what's in my fridge and truth or lie, I think is what it's called. So I'm going to invite my members to tell me 3 things they have in their fridge. And then I'm going to give it to someone else to try and convince us that's their fridge items. And see, you know, if you can really guess who those items really belong to.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So it's got 11 o'clock here, so I'm trying to fight off sleep as well to explain this. So like, for example, for you, I might give you what's in my fridge, which could be, for example, just pulling off the top of my head, smoked salmon, champagne, and you know, some walking shoes, so walking boots. Yes. And you then now have to convince the other members that is actually the content of your fridge, and see if they can if they will believe you, or if they will actually guess, no, that's not you, that is Josephine, or get another member.
There you go. So a twist on it.
Yes, it's trying to have a combination of the, you know, 2 different themes and put it together in that way.
Fantastic. So Josephine, 1, 2, 3. Wow. Hey. I'm going to share another idea. Thank you for sharing that one. I think that often we get stuck in everybody only doing table topics for so often. And one thing that I have shared with other districts is an idea that came up with an advanced club in our district. And they have been able to create what they call a Ringside Retreat. There's a 3-minute video that explains the concept, but basically you can do up to 14 pathways projects on leadership in one meeting. And you can combine in with other clubs, do a joint meeting. What they did is they had somebody introduce the topic of the leadership skill type. So maybe authoritative or bureaucratic, whatever it is. And then they had somebody tell a story tied to leadership that emulated that particular style of leadership. And then they had a wrap up with the first person speaking for 3 minutes to discuss how that story applied to that particular format. That's 2 people that have done their leadership skills presentation in level 2. And then after that, they threw everybody into breakout rooms. Somebody facilitated the group, another Pathways project, and they shared back what they learned from that. And then they did a second round. Then finally, they had somebody that actually coordinated the whole project, and they got a high performance leadership project out of that one. So it ends up with 13 or 14 if you do 2 rounds like that. So they had an entire night, 2 hours on leadership skills. They did another round of it with another set of groups on communication skills. They're working on one for humorous speaking. There's another set of advanced clubs that partnered across districts even, and they did one on mentorship. So take those ideas, come up with your theme, and it's basically a way to discuss what you've learned and to share, and then people can get their speech projects done during that time. So take the video. Renee Jacobs from the Inspirational Speakers Advanced Club up in Vancouver, she just explains it brilliantly. Feel free to share that with your groups, with your area directors, I think it's just an awesome way to get through those projects. So often we make excuses and just do all table topics in a meeting, and that's only eating the bread from the smorgasbord, people. You want to eat the whole buffet, right? Or at least a little taste from everything. Fantastic.
Louisa,
right.
this has been amazing. Really.
Well, I'm so thrilled to be able to share my excitement and passion for Toastmasters and some of the ideas I've collected along the way.